Hi guys, welcome back for the Forgetful Scholar, and this week it's two books, two romance books. So the first one, because I forgot my notes downstairs, so I know there's a subtitle to it, but I'll put it in the descriptions like I always do, put the full titles and everything in the descriptions. It's The Duke of Diamonds by Emily Windsor. It's a historical straight romance, and it's a new author for me, and I really liked it. So I'd give it about 4 stars. So let me explain. This follows Casper, the Duke of Diamonds, which is his moniker, and Evelyn, or Evie. So in the beginning, I will say I didn't like Casper very much, but like stay with it because his growth, his character growth, I loved his character growth, okay? Like the way he opens up to Evie and his family, and you get why he's so standoffish, why he's so closed off. And I'm sorry about like the shadows or the lighting in the room. It's not my normal time that I film, and everything's a little off. Drive me a little crazy, but we'll get through it, and hopefully next time I'll figure it out so it'll look better. Anyway, so this takes place about the early 1800s England, and the Duke of Diamonds, Casper, is obsessed with art, and Evie is also really big into art. Her husband, Jake's, her father was an artist. Their mother was I think a baroness, and she was disowned because she married an artist, right? So there's that. Okay, so how this book starts off is Evie decides to take the Duke of Diamonds for a ride. Like she is going to defraud him. Okay, and the thing is, we're on Evie's side. Okay, so Evie's mother died a while ago, then her father dies. And when her father dies, all the debt collectors come. And it's her and her little sister, who is sickly, right? And in the beginning, Evie got a job at the theater painting scenes because female artists, you know, at the time, like, no, be laughed at, right? So, and it was enough to get by, but then her little sister gets really sick. Like, really sick. Like, she thought she was going to die. And a moneylender basically showed up and be like, hey, I'll give you great rates. It was a scam. He worked for this horrible piece of shit. I hated him so much. Who basically, it's a con, right? So any excuse to rip up the contract and say that she owes him even more and stuff that like an amount she can't pay back in hopes. No, because he's done this before to get the women to work at one of his brothels, right? So he's all set up for that. I did like Evie's friends. And the whole time, like, because her father did this painting, I think it's like The Unveiling of Innocence, and Evie was the model for it, but her face isn't shown, and, you know, she hated it, but she did it for her dad. And this painting of the Duke is really obsessed with, you know? So she goes to him under her assumed name as a widow, saying like, hey, I have the companion to it that doesn't actually exist. Just in her father's sketches, he never got to paint it. But because she learned at her father's knee, she has the same technique. So she forges the painting to sell to him. And the whole time, she feels bad because she's a good person, you know. But the whole time, I'm like, girl, get your bag. You need to take care of your little sister. Don't worry about it, you know. And at the time, like I said, in the beginning of the book, you don't really like, at least I didn't really like Casper all that much. You do later on. And you find out more about him, like how when he became a duke, he was 17, and they were broke. The father was naive and got conned left and right, and there was no money left. And that meant tenants on their farm were starving. The farms were failing because there was no money to help, like all these things, right? So you realize at a very young age, he kind of had to put everything he wanted on the back burner and fix it. Now, what I would say, I kind of wished that we found out how he fixed it, you know? During the chapter, beginning of the chapters, there's quotes and whatever, but like there's playing cards as like the symbol, and I was like, okay, because the one time he does play cards, He's really freaking good at it. He cheated, but he's really freaking good at it. It's okay because he cheated people who were cheating. You know what I mean? So it's fine. So I was like, is that how he got the money for his estate? Because it doesn't really go into detail how just that he worked really hard at it, you know? But like how? And yes, he knows what it's like to be broke, but their version of broke is very different, right? Because he is also a male and a duke in this time. So his version of broke is very different from Evie's, who is a woman, unmarried, can barely get any kind of job in this world. You know what I mean? So I like that they had stuff in common, but it was still not the same. They're like, it was like, okay, apples and oranges are fruit, but very different fruit kind of a thing, right? And I actually loved the descriptions in the book and in their different POVs, how artistically minded they were. Because yeah, Casper, the one thing he lets himself enjoy is the art. Like, he's a patron of the art. He loves paintings. He patrons artists. He doesn't care if they're male or female, which I, obviously was like, oh, mark for him. Good. And he doesn't, like, when he's describing color in his mind, he doesn't say white. He says titanium, which is what white oil paint is called. And I like that, and same thing with her. She grew up in the artist world with her dad being a famous painter. So like, I liked how their descriptions had that air of artistry to it. It was kind of what I wanted in the contemporary romance, No Cross Security book one, I think, where the woman was a curator at a museum, but she didn't really, her internal POV didn't really match that, right? Whereas Evie's internal POV really matched that of an artist and someone who was raised by an artist, completely engrossed in that world. So I did really love that. I did like the romance. I really did. I loved Casper's growth. He has a younger brother. They're both older siblings that tried their best to shelter their younger siblings. They just have a lot in common. And I really like that. It was more than just like attraction, I liked how Casper eventually let his brother and uncle in, and he realized in protecting his younger brother so much, he was kind of stopping him from protecting his younger brother so much. He was kind of stopping him from kind of growing up and being his own man, right? And because of that, the younger brother, Ernest, was really unhappy. So he was gambling and womanizing and drinking because he was just so unhappy. He didn't have anything in life, So I liked that, and I liked how the brothers' relationship was seemed just as important to the author as Evie and Casper's, and I like that. I did, because family's important, right? So I liked how their brotherhood was repaired, and all the characters in this book, because, again, this is the first time I'm reading this author. I'm definitely going to check out her other books, because some of these characters in this book that I understand exist in the universe this book takes place in, and other books that they've written. So, like, the doctor was a character, like, very interesting character. I hope the younger brother gets a book. I hope the younger sister gets a book. This crime lord that's actually really nice and is a painter himself called the Prince. I hope he gets his own book. I know his Casper's friend, another Duke, he has his own book that I'm gonna read. So it's like very interesting, and all these very in-depth, complicated characters just for side characters, and I understand that they're characters in other stories, and I enjoy that. I'm curious about them now, you know what I mean? I want to read her backlog because of that. So that's, good job. Good job. I want to read your stuff because you put these characters in, and I'm like, ooh, who's that? A doctor who's also like a lord and is an ex-soldier? What? At that time? In that time and period in life? What? Brain explosion. I'm interested. A crime lord who is like scary looking, but like obviously hates the bad guy in the book, how he's like blackmailed women into working for him, and he's a secret artist with like a beautiful romantic paintings. And I'm like, oh, so like a crime lawyer with a secret romantic side? Intriguing, you know, like all these things. The third act was cute. Like the whole thing was cute. I really liked that in the third act when they confront like the big bad in it, that the girls weren't in a secondary position. Like they were the linchpin in taking down this guy. And I will say, even for me, someone who is bloodthirsty, I still liked how that happened. Like, I liked the takedown of the bad guy. I don't want to say too much because it was a fun ride, but I enjoyed that quite a bit. I'm wondering how the Duke, the whole book, I was like wondering how the Duke got his money back. I guess it's assumed that he did it gambling. I kind of wish they told us, you know, like a little bit. I wish they told us. So that's kind of the only thing in this book that I would like, and that's nitpicking, and that's just a me thing, because I'm like, I wonder how. It's probably the gambling. But still, you know, and I like their romance, and I'm happy I found a new historical romance writer to dive into, because sometimes, you know, you get bored of the Lisa Kleypeses of the world and you want something else, you know, so yay for me. Next is, let me open up my Kindle. Okay. Loose Ends, and this is like the Badlands, I think book 4 by Morgan Price. This is also another 4-star book. This is a contemporary boy love, man love, gay romance, and it's a paranormal mystery romance as well. So, an urban fantasy, I guess I don't know, and magical realism too, which I always find really fascinating how different authors have such varying takes on magical realism. That's just like a little nerdy thing that I enjoy. Don't mind me. So, this is a continuation. If you remember, Simon is a medium. He also is a doctorate in mythology and folklore, and he used to work at Columbia until he was fired, but like left happily. Now he lives in Myrtle Beach, and he runs like a kitschy kind of new age shop. He does readings there, and he also does the ghost tour, and he's really happy in his life, right? And he's dating Vic, who is a cop from Pittsburgh. Encountered like a supernatural event. No one believed him. He came down here to kind of get a fresh start. So he's a homicide cop in Myrtle Beach. The move was great for both of them because they really love Myrtle Beach and they found each other. And they are so cute. They are so cute. So, this was interesting because I was like, okay, it opens up Simon, who again is medium, is going to an abandoned pirate amusement park. And I was like, ooh. And he finds a skeleton. And I thought that was going to lead us down that investigation. No, it does not. Throughout the beginning of the book, when you I think it's the red herring, because we kind of think that's what's going to open up the investigation, right? That's what this book is going to be about, because all these books have been about murders, right? Incorrect. It's a red herring. Ha 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 ha. You've been tricked. So, while this is happening, weird things are happening to Vic. He almost gets run over. Someone hacks his credit cards. Someone photoshops him in really horrible pictures. Someone fakes an account on Grindr to make Simon think he's cheating. Like, all these things are happening, right? And like, Vic has no idea what's going on. And I'm just like, really? You don't know what's going on? Come on, it's so obvious what's happening. Someone who's knows you personally, is trying to destroy you. It's personal, obvious. It's Nate. Now, Nate is, I think we get more about him in like the holiday novella, is Vic's ex, who's also a cop, who's a dirty cop, right? And I was like, obviously, it's your ex who's a dirty cop. Like, come on. Oh, I want to flip the table over. Come on. So, I mean, I do say that the author did put little clues in there that it could be Simon's mother, who's horrible. She just uses Simon as like a show pony, you know what I mean? She doesn't really care about him, just as long as he does what she wants and it looks good for the neighbors kind of person, right? It's horrible. He keeps internally saying that his dad is a nice guy, but like, we don't see that. He doesn't rein in his wife. He doesn't ever call Simon just to say, hey buddy, what's up? Like nothing, you know? So I don't think so, Simon. I'm sorry to say, I don't think your dad's a nice guy either. I think he's like at best neglectful, right? Anyway, it's such a stark contrast from Vic's family, who loves Simon, is always like, they're so like connected and always talk, and just like, and he comes from a big family of cops. Like, it's lovely, right? His mother keeps calling and he's like, there's got to be something, because no way would she actually wants to see me. You know what I mean? There's something, she's out for something, right? And then his ex-fiance, who was just using him before he left the university and moved to Myrtle Beach, keeps showing up. So like, there's an interesting thing going on with the exes. So I get what the author was trying to do, right? And like, you see such a stark contrast from like Jason, no, not Jason, whatever. Don't care. He's not, he's horrible. I don't need to know his name. Simon's ex-fiance and Vic, and how different they treat Simon, and how wonderful Vic and Simon are. So cute. You know, I love their romance. I love the way the realistic magic, you know, because Simon doesn't have magic, but he has a friend who is a bruja, and he has a friend who's a root woman, and like what they can do, and like I really like that he has an ancestor who apparently was a water witch, Dante, because I love that name, Dante, because Simon can speak to ghosts, so Dante kind of hangs around. But Dante himself can't do magic because he doesn't have a physical body. So when Simon lets Dante possess him, then, you know, some stuff can happen. So I kind of like that. I kind of like that in this book, Simon's not getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Some books I really like when that happens. But sometimes, you know, this is a nice change of pace. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like Simon is the chosen one kind of deal. You know what I mean? Because that could get a little old if it happens too often. I will say that the bad guy does lead them on a merry chase. I thought that was a lot of fun. I thought it was interesting. I was on like, oh, because like I was planning to read a couple of chapters and put it down, and you know, no, it was just one of those books. I was like, oh, I want to know what happens. Oh, I want to know what happens. I want to know what happens. And so, you know, I will say the final and confrontation, I was like, well, that was fast. It was satisfying, but fast. Was I happy with how it went down? Oh, yes. Bloodthirsty bitch. I was happy about that. But, like, I was like, I don't know. A part of me kind of wanted the tension to build a little bit more, just a little bit. Like, I felt like the timing was a little cut short. But that's, again, a nitpicky thing. Because it was still 4-star. For me, and I really enjoyed myself. So yeah, this week I had a good reading week. Love when that happens. I really do. I'd rather have a good reading week than a book that frustrates me. Anyway, I don't want to, but it's time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.